Hey everyone, I'm Emigh and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a really special video I want to share with you all. We're going to be doing something a little bit different than usual. I want to celebrate hitting the major milestone of 200,000 subscribers on this channel. And to do that, I'm going to be answering some questions that I gathered from all of you. I ended up getting like over 300 questions, so I'm not going to make a super lengthy video and go through each and every one of those, but I did put together a list that I thought was a good variety of different types of questions that I found that were interesting, and a little bit about me and some jewelry related questions that you guys had as well. If you've been following the channel for any amount of time, you might remember a couple months ago we hit 100,000 subscribers, and to celebrate that milestone I gave away a 1 carat diamond. This time I'm going to be giving away an even larger diamond. It's going to be a colorless VS Clarity 1.2 carat oval diamond. I wanted to go with the 1.2 to commemorate the 200,000 subscribers. I think this is going to be something that I'm going to do every increment of 100,000 subscribers, and the diamonds will just keep getting larger and larger each time.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
Before I dive into the questions, I just want to say this YouTube journey has been incredible. I started posting jewelry videos a little over a year ago, and it's really been an awesome journey of learning and creativity, and I really want to thank each and every one of you for supporting my channel along the way. These diamond giveaways are the least that I can do to give back to all of you. I love all the comments that you guys leave in my videos. I try to read them all and respond to as many as I can, but I just want to let you know that I do see them, and I appreciate all of the likes and shares and everything else. So thank you again. Let's go answer some questions now. The first section I wanted to talk about was kind of like my personal background. A lot of times I get asked in the comments on videos from what it seems like people that are interested in becoming jewelers maybe, of, you know, how did I get started and what inspired me to become a jeweler. So I kind of grew up around the industry. My father was a jewelry salesperson in retail jewelry stores for many decades. He actually started his own jewelry store while I was a young kid. So I kind of grew up around the retail jewelry environment, and I can remember being very young in their workshop doing little things like cutting out diamonds from rings that were going to be scrapped, or polishing rings, just minor things like that. And I think growing up in that environment, I just always kind of figured in the back of my head that I probably would end up doing something in the jewelry industry. Fast forward to like my junior and senior year of high school, I remember taking a metal shop class, and I absolutely loved it. It was different types of welding and fabrication. This class had nothing to do with jewelry, but something clicked in my head that I really liked working with metal. I never was interested in wood shop or anything like that. I was always a hands-on type of guy, but there was something about metalworking that I really enjoyed. During those same years in high school, I decided that I was going to join the Marine Corps. So I enlisted into the Marine Corps Infantry while I was still in high school, and as soon as I graduated, I went to boot camp. After graduating Marine Corps boot camp, I became a machine gunner, and I did 1 combat tour in southern Afghanistan. As soon as I got out of the Marine Corps, I used my GI Bill to go to school to learn how to be a jeweler. Now there's not a ton of formal education options whenever it comes to the type of jewelry work that I do, but I was lucky enough to go to the Gemological Institute of America, also known as GIA. And some of you might be familiar with GIA because a lot of diamonds are graded by GIA. I attended their graduate jeweler program in beautiful Carlsbad, California. I loved going to this school. I loved the program. The instructors were incredible people. I'm still in touch with some of them to this day. Super supportive people. And if you're wondering where you could begin, if you have a blank slate as far as learning how to become a jeweler, the graduate jeweler program offered by GIA would be my #1 recommendation. Obviously, because I attended that school, I have no other formal training other than that graduate jeweler program that I attended. You definitely don't learn everything there. I don't think that there is a program that you could possibly learn everything, but I'd say the mass majority of your foundation can be learned in that program, especially if you apply yourself. I believe it was like a 9-month program. It's very fast paced, very high standards. but I think that's the environment that I thrive in. You definitely learn so much just day to day in the workshop. You never know what's going to come through the door. You're always being challenged. And to this day, I'm still getting things that I've never seen before. But I would say the first 2 years is the biggest learning curve. After a few years at the bench, you really start picking up patterns and you start feeling really comfortable just because you're like, I've been here in this situation before. I know how to do this. I feel comfortable with it. All right, next question. Who in the jewelry world do you most admire and why? I'd say I really look up to Bobby White. He's also a YouTuber that shares jewelry videos. His videos are really high production. I think his brother's a video editor. I'm super jealous of that. By the way, I'm looking for a video editor. So if any of you out there are an editor or know of someone, drop a comment down below. I'm looking for someone currently to help speed up my process as far as making these videos. But I love Bobby White's videos. I love his film style, and he makes really incredible jewelry. So go check out his channel as well. Okay, here's one. How important is formal education versus apprenticeship in becoming a successful jeweler? So like I mentioned, I have a formal education through GIA, but I have no apprenticeship. And I know that is a common path for bench jewelers, is you find a bench jeweler that is offering an apprenticeship, and basically they'll start you off on basic things like learning how to size a ring or learning how to polish rings, chain repairs, simple things like that. While that's great and you would probably get a lot of experience as far as like real world situations, you're kind of limited to how good the jeweler is that you're apprenticing under and how badly they want to teach you. So I think you could be apprentice for a jeweler that might be amazing and they might be a very good teacher and really push you through and get you learning things quickly and efficiently. But on the flip side, you might be an apprentice under a jeweler who is kind of dragging their feet and you aren't progressing as fast as you could if you were apprentice under someone else or if you went to a formal school. But like I said, I've never been an apprentice and never been in that situation. I have somewhat had an apprentice, if you want to call it. I taught my brother how to do a lot of things at the bench. Currently, he's sizing rings, retipping prongs, polishing rings. I also have him setting a lot of stones. So he's really progressed really quickly, and it's really interesting for me too, because like now I'm in the teacher position. So I enjoy that, and it's just something new. I think when you teach things, it actually increases your skill because the person that you're teaching might ask you questions that you might have never thought of. So then you have to have a deeper understanding of that topic whenever you need to give them the answer to their question. What's the most interesting project that you've ever created? There's so many of them, and a lot of times I think the story behind them makes them appear more interesting, even though the item itself might not be that incredible or outstanding of a piece. The story itself might be what's incredible about it. But one really oddball type project that I worked on before, and this was years ago, this is probably over 5 years ago. It was before I started making these videos, and I wish I was making videos back then because this would have been a really neat one. But this woman's husband passed away and his body was cremated. And after he was cremated and they gave her his remains, they found an artificial heart valve in the remains. So she brought the artificial heart valve to me to make a pendant out of it. And it's heart-shaped around the artificial heart valve, and the flaps on the heart valve still operate and they open. I still have photos of it. I'll try to attach it here so you can see it. It was really neat because it was a heart shape around the heart valve. So then she had a piece of him that she could wear all the time as a necklace. And it just, if you saw it, you wouldn't have any idea what it was, but it's a really special story. And it was just something really unique, and I doubt I'll ever see another one of those. How do you get such great shots of you doing your work? So for my longer videos, I use a Sony FX3 with a variety of different lenses. The lenses are the most important part. That way you can get really high detail of all the close-up shots. Jewelry's really hard to film and get good detail, but having the good equipment definitely helps. I also have a Leica S9i microscope that has a built-in camera, so that's how you see all the stone setting footage that I have. You can basically see what I see through my microscope. That's a great tool. I'm so glad that I have that. But most of my short videos are all filmed on an iPhone, so you don't really need a fancy camera to make simple videos. All right, next one. I'd be interested in you breaking down the pros and cons of 10 versus 14 versus 18 karat gold. Gold content, color, wearing over time, resistance to misshaping, etc. So the difference between 10 karat, 14 karat, and 18 karat gold is just how much gold content there is in that alloy. So pure gold is 24 karat, straight out of the ground, bright yellow, but it's too soft to use in jewelry, especially if you're setting gemstones. And yes, there is 24 karat gold jewelry out there. Usually it's like plain wedding bands, things like that. But you definitely wouldn't want to use 24 karat gold in like an engagement ring. So what they do is mix 24 karat gold with other metals to make it stronger, more durable, or change the color of it. Generally, yellow gold's mixed with brass, rose gold's mixed with copper, white gold's mixed with nickel or zinc. Out of the three colors, white gold's usually the hardest and the most brittle. I tend to think that yellow seems the softest. And out of the different carats, 10 karat will be the hardest, 18 karat will be the softest. But I love the bright, rich yellow color of 18 karat gold. It's so beautiful. I also got asked what metal I would recommend for the most durability, and that's always going to be platinum. The way that platinum breaks down compared to gold due to wear and tear over time is different at the molecular level, and I'm not a chemist or anything like that, but we'll have rings come in that are over 120 years old, and if they're made out of platinum, a lot of times the prongs are still a-okay and all the stones are nice and secure. On the other hand, you can have a ring that has gold prongs, and depending on how the owner wears it, they can wear through them, and I've seen it as short as a couple years. But so much of it is just how you're wearing your jewelry. Never wear it to the gym. Don't wear it when you're gardening or doing something rough with your hands. These precious metals are soft. They do wear away. Just take your rings off, put them somewhere safe, do what you have to do, and your prongs will thank you in the long run. There's no gold medal for the person who wears their jewelry all the time. It's not the smart thing to do. All right, so here's one that I received a lot. And I see this topic brought up all the time in comments on my videos and other videos. And this is something that I kind of wanted to bring up in a video at some point. And maybe I'll dive deeper into it in the future sometime. But the topic of moissanite. Now, moissanites are beautiful stones. They're basically an imitation diamond. They do have a pretty decent hardness rating. I believe they're typically like a 9.25 to a 9.5 on the Mohs scale. A diamond is a 10, but they do look different than diamonds. And yes, I look at diamonds all day long, every day. So I can quickly spot the difference just because that's what I look at all the time. But it's pretty easy once you know what to look for, the difference between the two. And I don't think there's anything wrong with going with moissanite, but what I always mention to people whenever they come in and they want an engagement ring with moissanite is that it's not too uncommon that someone will come in with an engagement ring that they might have received a year or two ago, and the center stone's a moissanite and it no longer sparkles. And that's because there's a lot of abrasions on it. And yes, it's probably because of how they're wearing it and what they're doing while they're wearing it. But these stones are not as hard as a diamond, so they do scratch easier. Moissanites also kind of have like a rainbowy look to them compared to an actual diamond. It almost looks like an oil slick. Like if you see a puddle of oil in a parking lot, that's like the best way I can describe it, like an iridescent rainbowy color. The facets usually aren't as sharp as on a diamond as well. I've noticed that too. But yeah, it's definitely doable. We make engagement rings with moissanite sometimes. You know, we've done a few. But now with the advent of lab-created diamonds, the price difference between the two can be pretty similar depending on the size. But what's nice about going with the lab-created diamond is once you buy that initial stone, you don't really have to worry about needing to buy a replacement in a couple years because of just wearing the ring scratched up the stone like you would with a moissanite. So you might buy a moissanite engagement ring and want to be replacing the stone in a couple years because, whoops, you scratched it and now it doesn't look as nice. So those are just my thoughts. So yeah, it might be a touchy subject. I know there's a lot of people out there that like moissanite. I know that they're heavily pushed on the internet because there's engagement ring stores online that only carry moissanite. I think a lot of these online retailers are pushing moissanite jewelry because think about it. The overhead to start a moissanite only store would be much less than starting a jewelry store that carries actual diamonds. In selling moissanite jewelry, it's much less complicated whenever it comes to the grading reports and diamond certificates and things like that. So I think a lot of these online retailers are looking for an easy way to get into the game. They do a good job at marketing an item that resembles the real thing, but it's a much lower price. I'm guessing your jewelry smithing skills came before your YouTube skills. So I'm curious, what inspired you to start your YouTube channel? What was the learning journey like for you? So this is kind of interesting. So this channel wasn't always a jewelry channel. Initially, I wanted it to be a motorcycle channel. A couple years ago, I was super into racing motorcycles at the local racetrack and modifying motorcycles. I did it for several years. I had a lot of fun. Track riding is a really great challenge. I enjoyed moving up through the ranks there, but ended up selling the bike, and this is a much safer route to go. But yeah, when it was a motorcycle channel, I had like a few hundred subscribers. I always wanted to get into producing online videos and testing my creativity whenever it comes to things like that. And I figured, hey, I'm working on jewelry every single day. So I figured maybe I could share the process of the jewelry making and also share all these sentimental stories I hear whenever I'm at work every day. What is your favorite and least favorite stone shape? So my least favorite is pretty easy. I do not like princess cut. I don't really know what it is. I just think it's maybe it's just the sharp sides. I don't know. I don't like princess cuts. Any of you that have a princess cut, don't hate me. Just my opinion. If I was going with a square stone, I would go with a square radiant cut diamond. They just sparkle like crazy. But favorite shape, I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. I think the radiant cuts, whether it's a traditional radiant or a square radiant, I love how they sparkle. I also like emerald cuts. I really like emerald cuts because they're very revealing. They need to be a really high clarity grade just because the way that they're faceted, you can really see into them. So they can't really be hiding any of the inclusions. So it really showcases the high quality of that diamond. Do you ever use your client's spare diamonds as a form of payment? Pretty much 9 times out of 10, we just offer to give the diamonds back to you. We have boxes full of a lot of small diamonds just that we use for repair purposes. But truthfully, there's not a whole lot of, purchasing power there. Like, especially now with lab created diamonds, if someone has an engagement ring that has a natural stone in it, as of right now, we're not super interested in purchasing that stone from you just because not many customers are looking for natural diamonds at the moment. So there's no real point for us to buy that diamond off you if it's just going to sit in our case and no one purchases it. Here's one that stood out to me that I think I've seen mentioned online before. I don't know if it was in another comment or anything on my videos, but Someone mentioned, do lab diamonds shrink over time? No, they don't. They don't shrink, they don't change colors. I've heard things about that. They're diamonds. They're the same thing as a natural diamond. They're just made in a different environment. They don't shrink. How do I go about finding a good jeweler as opposed to a place that just sells jewelry? The internet's an incredible tool. Use Google reviews or ask your friends if they've had any of their jewelry worked on at a local jeweler in your area. How do you collect all the little scraps and filings of the gold when making jewelry? So that's a really important thing that we keep track of, is all the gold scraps. Basically everything gets sent away to a refinery. Even if like you're using a paper towel and it's at my workbench or something, that gets sent away. It doesn't just go into the regular garbage can. And that's because there's a little bit of gold dust on it. And even though it might be, you know, less than a penny's worth, it adds up over time. I know a lot of times I'll leave work. Let's say I was grinding on something all day long with one of my rotary wheels. I'll have a lot of gold dust all over my shoulder. And I'm always wondering if my washing machine at home is like filled with gold dust at the bottom or something. So if my washing machine ever dies, I'm gonna tear it apart and see if there's any gold in there. But I actually have a video, I'll try to tag it here, of we mop the floor in our store and then we actually pan for gold in the mop bucket. And we actually retrieved quite a bit of gold dust there, so check that out. Another big question about lab-grown diamonds. Do lab-grown diamonds retain their value? Lab-grown diamonds and natural diamonds don't retain their value. You buy a lab-grown diamond or you buy a natural diamond and you go back to the jewelry store that you purchased it from and you say, I want to sell you this back, they're not going to give you what you bought it for. And I could go deep into the math of which route would be better, but that would be for a longer video more focused on that topic. But I do not view jewelry as an investment. I view it as an emotional purchase. An investment is something that you purchase with the intent of it increasing in value and then you could sell for a profit in the future. That is not, you know, your typical engagement ring or something like that. They're supposed to be beautiful gifts that you give to people that you love. So if you want an investment, you know, go buy stocks or real estate. Don't be buying diamonds and jewelry. That's not the right place to be looking for that. Don't forget about that diamond giveaway that we have coming up. I'm going to be mentioning those details here soon. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss this one. This oval diamond is incredible. If you could create an engagement ring start to finish for your wife, what would it look like and consist of? I'm not married, and I guess it would be based off of whatever that girl was interested in, but I'm not worried about that right now. What advice do you have for couples looking at purchasing an engagement ring / wedding set? So this is one thing that I've noticed a big change in the last few years. Like over 5 years ago, you would never see couples come in together and purchase rings. It was always the guy would come in by himself and purchase the ring. Or they would come in as a couple, check things out and leave, and then the guy would come back at another time and make the purchase. But lately, I think most of the time the couple comes together and they'll even make the purchase at that time. And I think this is really great because it works out for both parties. The girl's there, she gets to pick out exactly what she wants. The girl's there, she gets to pick out exactly what she wants and what she likes. She gets to try different things on, different colors of metal, different stone shapes and sizes, and she can really narrow it down to exactly what she wants. The guy's there to also see what she likes and they get to discuss things together. So she has the peace of mind that she's getting her dream ring and she knows exactly what she wants. And now the guy has the peace of mind that he knows that he's getting the ring that his girlfriend really loves. So oftentimes we'll all design it together, and then once they decide on what they like, they'll put a deposit on the ring, we'll start the project, and then we call the boyfriend whenever the ring's done, and then he can come pick it up whenever he pleases. And even though they're both in the process of choosing the ring, the guy can still make it a surprise for whenever he gives it to her, because she might not know whenever he's going to come pick it up or whenever he's going to give it to her. So we'll make rings and hang on to them for months at a time, and then the guy gives it to her whenever he's ready. So what I'm getting at there is, my advice is to shop together. Go to the jewelry store together, try different things on, different sizes, different shapes. Ask the jeweler about lab created diamonds versus natural diamonds if you're looking for a diamond engagement ring. And yeah, just use it as an opportunity to really zero in and figure out exactly what you want and what you like. And also make sure they check your finger size. That way, whenever they build the ring, you'll know that it's going to fit right out of the box. What are your go-to pieces and what metals do you like wearing the most? Typically I wear a Cuban link chain and a matching bracelet. I usually only wear yellow gold. I also have a couple rings that I wear sometimes. I'm not married, I just like the way they look. Have you ever had a customer come in to have a diamond ring maintenance only to discover their beloved rock isn't real, exposing a less than honest fiance? I have. A handful of times actually. And it's something that has to be addressed at the moment that we discover it. That is a reason why we always inspect the ring before we clean it, not only to check the current status of the ring, make sure that all the stones are nice and tight, because our cleaner can actually shake diamonds out of the mounting if they are loose. But we also want to identify exactly what we're about to clean, because if that's not a real stone, we need to address it right then and there. That way, you know, we can't be accused for something that we didn't do. So yeah, it can be a awkward conversation, but we have to address it right then and there to protect us. So yeah, it's all about transparency. This is a huge question that I get all the time, and it's, how can you get me to work on your pieces? Unfortunately, we do not accept mail-in orders on any pieces that you might already have, any gemstones, anything like that. And the main reason is because there's an inherent risk with the shipping process, and I've had quite a few packages over the years get either stolen or misplaced, and thankfully they were all with just inventory items, not actual customer pieces. And that is a nightmare that I don't want to live. I don't want to give a customer a phone call saying that their grandmother's ring is missing, you know, because someone in a UPS warehouse decided to put it in their pocket and go home. So I avoid that at all costs. My store is located in Butler, Pennsylvania. It's called Emigh Jewelry Company. I'd love for any of you to stop in at any time for me to check out what you got, and if you have any ideas for restylings or you need a repair done, I'm more than happy to help. But as far as mailing things to me, I cannot accept them at this time. For new projects like the custom engagement rings you see me build, we do offer nationwide shipping on those. The easiest way to get a hold of me is to shoot me a message on Instagram or Facebook. On Instagram, I'm Zach Emigh Jewelry, and on Facebook, it's just my name, Zach Emigh. If you send me a message there with an idea for a new custom engagement ring, I'm more than happy to help. I'll work with you directly there. Or if you're just looking for a new piece of jewelry, like a gold chain or something, I can help you out with that. And we can ship things like that because our packages are fully insured. If something did happen to it during the process of shipping it to you, we can always replace something like that. But for a vintage ring that was passed down to you, I can't replace that. So that's why we avoid shipping of those items. What's your favorite man's ring that you've ever created? My most recent video, it's a wedding band transformation. A young man's father died right before his wedding day, and he inherited his father's wedding band, and I modified it to make it his own, and it also had a little bit of a sentimental touch to commemorate his bond with him and his wife. So I'll tag that video, check it out. It's one of my favorite pieces that I've made. Hi Zach, I'd like to know how I can tell the difference between a lab-grown and an earth-made diamond. Scared that I could be scammed one day. Only buy certified stones. It'll come with a diamond certificate. It'll say if it's lab grown or natural. And usually they're laser inscribed. You can zoom in on it. You could ask the jeweler to show it to you. And you can see, usually if it's lab created, it'll say LG before the serial number, or it'll actually say lab grown. But there's also special diamond testers out there that can also tell you if it's lab created or natural. So not a whole lot to worry about there as long as you're buying certified. What's your opinion on soldering rings together? I've done videos on this before. I definitely recommend it if you're wearing engagement rings and wedding bands together. Having them soldered together keeps them lined up. It helps prevent the engagement ring from rolling on your finger. And most importantly, over the long run, it definitely cuts down on how much they damage each other. So if you have two gold rings beside each other and they're rubbing each way every single day, all day long, as dirt gets in between the rings, they end up cutting into each other. You start losing stones, and the rings can get to a point where they can't be repaired. So yeah, just solder them together. It is reversible if you ever do want to separate them again, but yes, I do recommend it. I'm a beginner jeweler. What steps should I take to market my work and get it out there and seen by the public? Make a YouTube channel. What's your favorite material to work with and why? Gem and metal wise. Diamonds, because they're the hardest, so they're the least risk as far as breaking. Emeralds and like tanzanites and opals are the worst. They're super soft. And my favorite metal to work with is platinum. How did you transition from the military life to learning the jewelry craftsmanship? A lot of times people ask me that, like people that know that I was a machine gunner in the Marine Corps and now I'm a jeweler. It's kind of a weird, you know, transition type thing. It's kind of like different ends of the spectrum, I guess. But I think a lot of things actually are in common. I was a machine gun team leader while deployed in Afghanistan, and so much of that job is attention to detail. But over there, you and your buddies' lives are on the line, so you can't really miss anything. So I think I have a high level of attention to detail, and you know, I think the military really helped with that. But I also think it gave me a lot of drive and motivation, and especially discipline, that really helps me with my current career. From design to finished product, how long does it typically take? That is, you know, that all depends on the project. Some projects can be a couple days, some take a couple months. The projects that I make videos of take the longest because the filming process is really in depth. But I usually make videos of projects where the customer is completely open with me taking my time, and they understand that there's a lot that goes into it, and I'm trying to capture the process for the video. What is the most expensive piece of jewelry you've created? That's a good question. Without revealing too many details, I'll just say you could buy a really nice car with how much it costs. Has there ever been a ring or a piece of jewelry that you were unable to save or repair? Yes, absolutely. If someone's ring has just been worn non-stop with other rings that have cut into the sides of it, and the width of it has been decreased like over 50%. It's really common with rings that are, you know, many decades old and they've been worn with other jewelry, and they just get to a point where just pieces of it left over. And the best thing to do would be recreate that piece starting over new. And another example of this situation is any ring that's been exposed to chlorine or bleach. I have other videos explaining what chlorine and bleach does to gold, and there's no fixing that. It's just, it ruins the metal, and you have to start over fresh, or else you're gonna lose your gemstones. Did you ever experience having a suspicious client and had insinuated that you put a fake stone or didn't use the exact weight or metal? So I think what they're saying is, like, has anyone ever accused me of like switching their diamond or anything? And this is like a myth in the jewelry industry. We hear it all the time. People will say, you know, my grandma's diamond got swapped or whatever. What I have to say to that is there's no jeweler out there that is going to risk his reputation or his business for your diamond. There's no diamond out there worth stealing to ruin that for the jeweler or the jeweler's family. And what I can say from like my viewpoint, being the one who works on jewelry, that would take so much extra work and time and parts to like have a bunch of like fake stones sitting around that are readily available to swap out for other stones, and you would have to be like changing out prongs to make them fit, and it would just be, we're trying to get your repairs and new pieces completed as fast as possible so that you can get them back and wear them or give them to your loved ones. We're not interested in taking your gemstones. It's a myth. What's your least favorite metal to work with? I hate soldering rose gold. It's a real pain. So yeah, sizing rose gold rings, I hate it. What would you consider the most important C when you're purchasing a diamond? I don't know, it's whatever you're into, but hey, maybe karat, you know, go big or go home. What are the pros and cons of bezel settings for someone who's active with their hands? Bezel settings are great. They eliminate prongs and they're super durable, super wearable. If you're active with your hands, they're great. I guess a con would be they kind of cover up the outer ridge of the diamond, but that can be a pro too, so can protect the edges of your diamond. What's the craziest, weirdest request you've ever gotten? I'm not sure if it's the craziest, but one that I did recently, I have a video of it posted. I'll try to link it. This woman who, you know, is probably like in her 70s, her husband, I think she said, was 86, and they have a calendar at home, and every day that they have intercourse, they put a check mark on their calendar, and she had me build a check mark style pendant with a 1 carat diamond in it. And I haven't shown the video of this yet, but she's also doing matching earrings and a tie tack for him. So it was just kind of a really interesting story, super funny, great woman, and just really fun relationship, it sounds like. So that was a recent one, first one that came to my mind whenever I read that question. So that's that. What's your favorite gemstone? That would be a Parariba tourmaline. It's like a sea foam green, super bright. In real life, they look like almost like an LED flashlight or something. Like, they're just so bright. They're beautiful, extremely expensive. What's the best way to clean my jewelry at home? Whenever people buy new engagement rings from us, we give them like a little jar of standard jewelry cleaner. And that stuff works really well, but your best bet is to go into a jewelry store and have them inspect and clean your jewelry with ultrasonic cleaner. It's just a professional tool that we use that really gets all the dirt and grime from underneath your gemstones, and it makes your diamonds look the best possible. It brings me to another point I've been wanting to toss out there and see if I could get any feedback for it. I've been considering launching a cleaning product for jewelry online that would be really good for anyone that wants to easily clean their jewelry between visits at their local jewelry store. Real simple, easy to use product, and I think it would cost less than, you know, $20 or $25, something like that. And, you know, it's just been something that I've been kind of considering doing, but if no one out there is interested in it, I'm not going to do it. But if that sounds like something that you would possibly be interested in purchasing, let me know down below, and if enough of you seem interested, maybe it will be something that I will offer online soon. What's your favorite part of the job? Seeing the reaction whenever the customer picks up a piece, especially the really sentimental heirloom pieces. Like, people cry a lot, and you know, that's just it makes you, they're happy tears. It makes you feel good because, you know, they're going through you know, incredible emotions, but you were able to, you know, put their story of their relationship, you know, possibly with a loved one that passed, into an item that they can, you know, hang on to for the rest of their life or pass on to their children. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite part. How do you tell if your diamond is loose in its setting? Go to a jewelry store, they'll look at it under a microscope and they can quickly tell you. And no, they are not supposed to wiggle, not at all. What is the best way to get great quality diamonds online? Send me a message. How often should I bring my jewelry to a professional for maintenance? We have people that bring the rings in every week. We also have people that never bring the rings in for cleaning. It's completely up to you. I would recommend, you know, every, you know, couple months maybe. There's really no harm in stopping by and having it checked out. You know, it gives you peace of mind and you get to leave with a nice, shiny, brand new looking ring. What are some popular trends in engagement and wedding jewelry? Right now, popular trend is definitely hidden halos. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, the details on how you can enter to win this beautiful 1.2 carat oval diamond. To enter to win, it's fairly simple. There's just 3 things that you have to do. 1, you have to be subscribed to the channel. 2, I want you to drop a comment down below and tell me what your dream jewelry piece is. Is it a ring, a bracelet, a necklace? Let me know. Let your imagination run wild and let me know why that would be your dream jewelry creation. I'm looking forward to seeing all of your amazing ideas. Maybe one of them will even inspire a future video. And the third and final thing that you'll need to do to enter to win is click the link in the description of this video below. This link will take you to a form that I created that will ask for your first name, last name, email address, and YouTube username. The reason I'm asking for this information is so that I can easily contact you if you're randomly selected as the winner. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't offer the option to send messages on this platform, so I'm going to need to gather your email address through this form so that way I can email you if you are the lucky winner. And the reason I'm asking for the name of your YouTube account, so I can go through the comments and double check that you followed step number 2 and left me the comment below of your dream jewelry piece. I'm going to draw the random winner exactly 1 week after posting this video. I'll write the date along here somewhere of when that will be. Another thing that I will mention is beware of any fake accounts that are created. A lot of times whenever we run giveaways like this, fake accounts will be made and they will try to reach out to you saying that you're the winner, and they will ask you for personal information like your credit card number and all this crazy stuff. Do not do that, please. I do not want to see anyone fall victim to an online scam. You will only be contacted if you are the actual winner, and it will be by me. But thank you once again. Go ahead, let those comments come flying in. I want to hear all your incredible ideas, and I look forward to doing more of these diamond giveaways in the future. And if you have any other ideas for future giveaways, let me know. You know, maybe we can mix it up and do something different next time. But thanks for hanging in there till the end. I know it's something different for my videos. I'm usually not just sitting here talking to the camera. But if you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and like it. And in the future, if you want to be some of the first people to know whenever I post a video like this, be sure to turn on the notification bell so that you're notified as soon as I upload new content. Alright guys, have a great day. Good luck in this contest. We'll see you in the next one.